It's I'm so fast today. It's weird.
Did you just start recording?
Oh no, yeah, I put these on YouTube, so I've just pressed the button there.
You want me to start the recording for here?
Yes, if you want to.
Okay.
Sorry, what were you saying before about you want to go from you're starting at 15:15, did you say, Jackie?
Yeah. We're aiming for 7:15. Douglas is driving back from Dublin at the moment.
Okay.
So I just want to give him time to get home, settle in, get a cup of tea, and so we're going to give him till 7:15. And that gives you time then for your fabulous after show.
Well, I don't know about that, Jackie. Will you be there?
Probably.
Well, it will be then.
I'm going to be peeling my potatoes while I'm listening to you.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Okay, right. Guys, otherwise I'm not going to get any potatoes. I won't get any dinner. All right, see you in a bit. Hi, Jenny.
Hi, how are you?
Very well, thank you. And you?
Yeah, not too bad. In a bit of a time warp today, but yeah, it's all good.
Whatever you did on that other channel, that Mark Atwood channel, do it again.
Yeah, that sort of thing doesn't happen that often to me. But
Did you put the post up, or was it somebody else that put the post up? Because when I looked at it, I thought, oh, you can't, unless you're an admin, you can't put posts up, can you?
No, Mark posted it because I've been doing on and off. I've been doing his digital marketing course, and I've been following him for a few years, and I've met him a couple of times. And he's really amazing with, anybody sort of spiritually awakened people, like normal people, not people that are big names. Just he thinks that anyone on the path has got something interesting to say. And he's like one of the most down-to-earth truther types, in my opinion. So I've known him a little bit on and off for a couple of years. So I was quite surprised he shared it, actually.
Oh, yeah, that was fantastic. Well,
yeah.
My son jumping in there.
Yeah.
Douglas knows them as well.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, it is a small world. So yeah, that was really good. So I've had a bit of a flurry of activity this week as well. It's not just you, and so Andy thought he was having a spam bot apocalypse, didn't you?
Well, whenever I knew somebody had posted something somewhere, but I didn't know what, when, where, and how.
Yeah.
Because when we get a flurry like that, that's usually because someone's put something up somewhere.
Yeah.
It does attract spammers. You do obviously get genuine folk joining, but then you do get the bots and the spammer bots and the scammer bots and the crypto types.
Yeah.
You do drop. So yeah, I was like, oh, I wonder. And I always like to play the game of, can I guess whether or not that's a spammer or not?
Yeah, and you probably get to know. You probably get to recognise the hallmarks of that.
Yeah, and the usual giveaways, obviously, when they try and message you with the word hello.
Yeah, it's always so wooden, isn't it?
It's like they say hello, and you go, oh, hello, and then they say, what's your name? And I'm like, well, surely you must know what my name is, because you sent a message to my profile. So that's a dead giveaway. So then you got to decide then whether or not you play with them and wind them up, or just delete, block, and report.
Yeah, winding them up sounds fun. Keep doing that.
It's absolutely mental. I've got 3 or 4 strategies that I use. One is I go full blown, sort of like, you're the devil, you're promoting the devil's work, blah blah blah. And then my other action is oh no, I live completely my life without money whatsoever. And obviously that sparks their interest, and so they normally ask, well, how do you pay for things? And I say, well, we live with a barter system here. Proper wind them up.
In the fifth dimension. I love it.
And then my other favourite is just when I realise what they're trying to do, is I become a pretend. I don't tell them I'm pretending, but I try and then say, "Would you like to join my digital exchange currency app?" All we need is $250 from you.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love that. Reverse psychology.
2 minutes past. Right, I'm ready. I've got Feeling is Healing. And today's episode is called Chaos.
It is, yes. It is.
Yes, I love that. Yes. Yes. Right. I'll do the countdown.
Okay.
Press start and then mute myself, and then it's over to you, Jenny.
Okay, thanks, Andy.
3, 2, 1.
Hello, this is Feeling is Healing, episode 18. And today we are welcoming chaos, as you do, or as you don't. So, chaos. I did find it necessary to look up chaos theory before I started this kind of like quest for background information. And then I thought, why am I doing this? Because it was all, mathematical, scientific kind of equations and explanations. And I just thought, I just don't think that God is that complicated. So I think that chaos is nature. And I've actually been dealing with chaos probably all my life, I would say, but particularly since 2012, which, everybody has a different name for that year. I've heard it referred to as the cosmic moment or something like that, or was that 1987? But anyway, there seems to have been all of these kind of, I don't know what you call them, like trigger switches at certain times, probably linked up to astrology and prophecy and like all that. But since 2012, that was when I sort of mainly woke up properly. I think I've always been awake, but that year something did trip a switch in my head and I got on the spiritual path. And then I found out that there are gates. So we were talking about the gates, the initiations, in a recent show. So it depends what you're here to do, what goals you've set for yourself. If you've set yourself quite lofty goals, then you will be undergoing quite intense gates and initiations. I mean, we all have those, but it depends what it is that we think is going to make us happy, that we're kind of hurtling towards through time and space. So I've got used to embracing chaos. And I also did a lot of resisting of chaos as well. Quite painfully, I left 2 careers. I left my husband. In the last 6 years, I've moved 5 times. I've moved house 5 times. And all of this is because I change my frequency quite often because I regularly self-heal. So it isn't going to happen to everyone having this much change, because most people are not going to do as much self-healing as me, because it's part of my life purpose to do that so that I can teach people. But yeah, I've got used to embracing chaos, and chaos is happening in the world, I think we can safely say, and has been for a long time, but now it's silly season for chaos. So today I'm going to look at with you, if you would like to join in, the part of your consciousness that is experiencing chaos or sees itself as chaos even, and the other part of consciousness, which is your future self, the other side of chaos after you've trusted the plan. So embracing chaos is really the same thing as trusting the plan and as embodiment. So kind of allowing the divine into your life so that it can live through you. So this is all about the dissolution of the ego as well, obviously. Yeah, so we're navigating chaos. I'll get into the parts a bit later, and I'll try and leave enough time to do that properly. So interestingly, not committing to self-healing will catch up with you eventually, but also committing to self-healing will catch up with you. So committing to self-healing like I've done over a number of years, it brings expansion, which also brings chaos. So you're going to, like we've talked about, failure and success, and then failure and then success again, and then failure and then success. And it's just learning. It's just what learning is. And expansion is going to bring chaos, and chaos is going to bring expansion. And it's just nature. And you see it all over nature, and it just is. And it's physics, which you cannot fight with. You can try, but you're not going to win. So if you commit to self-healing, you will naturally just get used to the roller coaster ride of expansion. It takes you up and then it takes you down, and then it takes you up, but there's an upward trend. If you don't commit to self-healing, so if you are um, some people say the normies, although I don't like labels. But the people who are not on the path, they're not committed to self-healing because they don't yet realize necessarily that they need to do that, which is fair enough. If you don't cleanse your energy system and release all of this stuff, then it's going to become a volcano. And this is when the universe will step in and kind of kick you up the arse and drag you through the gates of hell because you didn't walk into it with your free will. So it's hard. It's hard, this stuff, this ascension, this healing, what's happened to us, it's hard. And I did say I was going to keep it light this week, which I am going in that direction. But obviously we have to do both. So I'm teaching all of you guys, it's easier if you walk into it with curiosity. If you can walk into it with curiosity, then you're leaning into it, you're moving forward. Your body can hear you and see you and feel you. It knows that you're up for it. It knows that you're self-healing. So things can actually become smoother when you walk straight into all of this stuff. If you don't really know anything about healing and you're not on the path, then you're going to find out about it quite soon. So chaos is happening now for all of us. It has been for a while for all of us holistic types. But for the normal people out there who are not on this path, we need to navigate chaos for them because they're going to resist it. And resisting anything, resisting emotion, resisting chaos is just going to bring more chaos. So this is about getting on the wave and surfing it and kind of allowing it to be there without trying to fix it or change it, acknowledging that things are speeding up and kind of moving quite fast. Parts work, I would say, is a really, really good way to get out ahead of the energy. So I'm not going to be talking about chaos theory because it's very complicated and I don't think it's relevant. So we generally think of chaos as disorder and confusion and uncertainty and unpredictability. So it seems like it's a random thing. I mean, before I was on the spiritual path, I did think that random chaos was what was happening. I went from sort of Catholicism into atheism. And then when I was atheist and I thought there was nothing really happening spiritually, I did think things were random and it was unsafe. It felt really unsafe. That there wasn't a sense of order in the universe and things seemed kind of like very cold and kind of unfair and it didn't make sense. It does now, and obviously I needed to be there. So chaos seems random. So it's happening in our lives, it's happening in politics, in the world, all around the world actually. It's happening in the weather. Chaos, it is something that people know is going to bring change, and change is a lot of people's biggest fear, actually. So chaos can come in many forms. So, for example, occasionally my cat will jump in the fridge when when I'm not looking, and then I'll shut the door not knowing she's in there, and then I'll hear her. Now that's kind of like a form of chaos. Funny things can happen in our lives, like for no apparent reason, probably to make us laugh, probably to remind us of something. But also, I used to, when I was a teacher, I was quite exhausted a lot of the time. And me and my teaching assistant at the time, we used to have what we would call fuck it Fridays. So we would let go of the lesson plans and the learning objectives and all of that stuff. And we would have a Friday full of improv. So we would have improvisation, we would have singing and dancing. And it was the best day of the week. And we learned more about the kids than when we were sticking to the curriculum and the timetable. So that kind of chaos I like. Chaos obviously has a dark and a light, like everything does. So we could actually drown in chaos if we were resisting it. Um, but if massive change is on the cards and it needs to happen, this is just the way that it's going to happen. So it might seem like you're kind of going off road, off piste, where you haven't got the memo and you haven't got the map or the plan, and that's okay. So it's going to bring an out of control feeling, and probably most of us listening to this probably feel like all of our lives we've probably felt like we're the doers, like we're the ones doing life, because we've all been control freaks because we've had to, because we thought that was how to get things done. So we always felt like, and probably still do to some degree, feel like we're the ones controlling everything. And we've tried lots of different ways. But we say things to ourselves all the time, like, if I wasn't doing this job, no one would do it as well as me. You know, if I left today, nobody would know what goes on. You know, we see ourselves as kind of indispensable. If I wasn't here, my family wouldn't survive. So on some level, it's probably all true. Um, it's our ego that is afraid of chaos. The bigger part of ourself isn't actually afraid. So it's our ego that thinks we're indispensable and that we're in danger, and that if we don't control everyone and everything, then everything is going to fall apart. So we actually have to let it, we have to let it fall apart, because we're not actually the doers, which is what we're finding out on this spiritual path. So what if the universe is always flowing to us as the divine doer through us, and we get to watch? And we can only do that if we let go of the wheel and we let go of the outcomes and the expectations. It's literally a really, well, I don't know how to describe this. Like, imagine you're in a bumper car. You know how fast those little wheels spin. Imagine there you are, you're bumping into your friends and family, and then you just let go of that thing. I'm not quite sure if it stopped. It might actually just stop, but imagine if it kept going. So you're probably like, no, I'm much more knowledgeable than God. I've got this. I can do this. So we're all control freaks, and we need to see that we are. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just what we've been made. It's how we've been forged. It's what happened because nobody was looking after us in the way that we needed to be looked after. So I think that it's helpful to think of chaos as on the same scale or spectrum as divine order. So chaos actually leads to divine order. So it's like you've got dark one side and light the other side. So on one extreme end, you've got chaos. It seems like things are just happening at random. It seems like everybody's going to drown. No one's going to get through it. We're going to lose people. We're going to lose things. We don't know what people are going to do. And we might think that there are things that we can do that can make it all better, and there probably are. But if we can do it from a place of, okay, I'm trusting the plan, I'm here to do what I do, to do what I naturally do to help others, to support myself, to support my family, and be okay that that's happening. So, this old chestnut about getting comfortable with uncertainty brings so much peace. Because when you get comfortable with uncertainty and unpredictability and chaos, you actually just naturally let go of loads and loads of other things. So I think that what life actually is a co-creation. So we have our free will choice about how to go about this life, and then the universe facilitates that through us. So a lot of people, that I can see around me, are experiencing right now is like extreme overwhelm. So that's actually already chaos. It's already, there's too much for me to process. There's too much for me to do. I can't get it all done, or I'm not good enough to get it all done, or there's something wrong with me because I can't cope with all of this. So if that's happening to you, just see it. And nobody ever achieved anything trying to force themselves to do things, to get things done, to achieve things, to solve problems from that frequency. You can't really get anything solved or sorted from that frequency. So I heard somebody recently say stop, drop, and roll, which I really liked because it is really easy to remember. And I think it was, I can't remember her full name, but if anybody knows Matt Kahn, I think that's his name. And then he has a partner, I think her name's June. Anyway, she said stop, drop, and roll. So stop when you realize you're getting overwhelmed by the chaos and everything that's happening, whether that's in the world or internally or both. Stop. Stop trying to do things. Stop trying to stop it. Just stop, observe yourself, come out of your mind into your heart. So stop, drop. Literally imagine bringing that overthinking head into your heart and then roll with what's happening. So that's don't fix, don't change, don't need it to be different, don't try and get rid of it. Just be present with that actual experience. Because if you can be present with chaos, magic and miracles will occur. And that's actually already happened to me last week. I'll try and remember to tell you at the end. Maybe someone can remind me if I forget. But a literal miracle did happen when I was present with the chaos that I was in. It was so, oh my God. I still can't believe that it happened. I haven't fully processed it. So maybe you guys can help me. So the trick is to see yourself oh sorry, I'm looking at the wrong notes now. Yeah. So the trick to this is to see what you're doing. You're trying to control everything. You're trying to literally be God. Now we know that we are fragments of source, so we are God. So life is about a co-creation. Whatever is happening, you need to be in your heart and not your head. So if you want to cope with chaos better than you are doing, you need to be in your heart, because that's where your emotions are, and your feelings and the real you underneath it all. So that's where you're going to make better decisions from. So catch yourself thinking that you're better than God when you're trying to control everything, because you controlling and manipulating, trying to do things from a place of overwhelm. It's not going to work. It's not. It just can't. So you can't get solutions to problems from there. You just can't get there from there. So notice when you're falling into a mind hole. So when you're just overthinking, or you might be numb, so you're not feeling anything. So if you're numb, you're not feeling anything, you've switched yourself off, or you're thinking, mind chatter, monkey mind, all of that. You need to recognize if you're thinking, you can't think your way out of chaos. You need to drop into your heart. Stop, drop, and roll. So it takes a bit of practice, but soon you'll just do it naturally. So remember that you are part of God, and God is here for you. And you are powerful enough to achieve anything if you are working with your heart, your body, and your mind all at the same time. Because if you're not working with those all at the same time, that's what causes suffering. So not coping with chaos is being in the mind. So just notice when you're doing that. So we think that chaos is dangerous because our parents probably taught us that. It just isn't. It's magical. It's amazing to watch if you can be in the observer self. And once you've seen that it works, just being completely present with chaos and just allowing it to be. It's so miraculous when you see how it works, and that there's no pattern to anything, clearly, because it seems random, but it's doing its thing. And if you can be in your heart when chaos is happening, then the right arrangements and the right alignments and the right placing and the right timing and the right opportunities and the right everything just will materialize. And chaos means it's on its way, actually. So if you can be in chaos, knowing that the right everything is coming in your direction. So there's a future version of you, the other side of chaos, that trusted the plan. So that's one of the parts that we're going to be with today. So think about that. What if you are capable of being the observer in the chaos, not trying to change anything or fix anything, just letting it be and helping other people, not to resist it, just to let it be there, then literally anything can happen and you're moving towards possibility instead of limitation. So we want an upward trend and not a downward one. So remember to drop into the heart so we can facilitate the chaos to bring us what we need, actually. So what I would suggest to do this is to tap on the center of your chest, on your thymus point, just on the chest plate there. Or if you want to, have your hands in your lap and tap on the side of your hand, on the squidgy part of your hand, underneath the little finger on the side of your hand. If you want to keep changing hands, that's okay. So I want you to imagine in front of you, you've got the part of you that is in chaos or fears chaos, or is uncomfortable with chaos, uncomfortable with not knowing what's going to happen, not knowing how things are going to work, not liking the idea of change and not wanting to let go of the way things are. I want you to just see that part of you in front of you. And we're not going to fix or change him or her. We just want to move towards them curiously, and we're wondering about them. And we're going to let them express themselves. And then also in front of you, so imagine you've got two chairs in front of you. You've got the part of you that is in chaos, and then the other part of you that has trusted the plan, has seen chaos in a different light, knows that it's necessary, knows that they can let go to a certain degree, either completely or maybe a little bit. And you don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. So just move towards this part of you curiously, and just know that in the multiverse, there's a future version of you that has nailed chaos. And this part of you did trust the plan. And this part of you has landed in a reality where things have happened that you couldn't possibly have predicted in a good way. So solutions have been found, T's have been crossed, I's have been dotted, all sorts of things have changed and sorted themselves out that you could not possibly have done yourself if you had been there pulling the strings, controlling and manipulating, because you thought that you were the one that had the answer. So this future version of you already exists. So I want you to just feel into that part of your consciousness. So they probably look quite different to each other. One of them's probably got disheveled hair kind of all over the place, drinking a glass of wine, not properly dressed. The other one is probably all kind of like chilled, amazed, happy, calm, full of astonishment and magic. So these two parts are very different. So what I want you to do is go to this chaos part of your consciousness first. So think about the thing that's going on for you, and make sure that you keep tapping while you do this. So you might have noticed while you've had this thing going on for you, this chaos, it seems like you don't know what the answer is. You don't know where it's going to go. Maybe it involves another person that is unpredictable or volatile or struggling, whatever that looks like. Or it might be a situation that seems out of control. It might seem like you're doomed, or there's no way out, or like a feeling of trapped. Might seem like there isn't a solution. It might just feel like anxiety. It might feel like I need to know the answer. I need to know what's going to happen. I can't survive without knowing that I'm safe. So there might be any number of emotions. So I want you to get into the feeling of that in the body. So while you're tapping, I want you to ask yourself, where in my body is the sensation of this particular chaos that I'm feeling? So whether that's your fear about the chaos in the world, or your fear about the chaos in your life or in someone else's life, and you're feeling that, whatever that is, I want you to stop, drop into your heart. Imagine moving all of those overthinking thoughts and that monkey mind and those loops that you've got going on. Imagine just dropping it all, bringing it with you down into your heart. And we're not going to change any of it or fix any of it, because you've got good reason to have all of that. You're not wrong or bad. You're not doing anything wrong at all. You're just reacting to life, and you're reacting to patterns and habits and traumas and things that have happened throughout your life. So there is no right or wrong way to do this. But coming into your heart and into your body is literally the best thing you could do, because chaos, it can hurt you if you stay in your head and if you try and think your way out of it, because you can't. You're trying to do something that you can't do because you're not in charge. And this is about surrender, which is not an easy thing to do. So bring all of that overthinking down into your heart, and then look at your body. What in your body is this chaos? What is the sensation of that? So anxiety is often up in the chest, and fear is often down in the stomach. And then shame is usually lower, kind of in the sexual organs, and guilt, those kind of emotions, heavy kind of emotions are down there. and anything that it kind of feels like unsafety around the stomach. Anything to do with feeling like you're out of control, like you haven't got your full access to your power, is often in the stomach as well, connected with your solar plexus chakra. So I want you to just be completely with the sensation of the chaos. What does that feel like for you? So for me, I've been having some chaos with a relationship in my life. And that chaos, when I tuned into it, it was more sort of up in my neck and shoulders. And I just had like this stiffness, kind of this fixed, rigid anger. It was anger and betrayal. It was like that feeling of seeing somebody in the true light of them that you hadn't necessarily seen that aspect before. So I found it incredibly uncomfortable. And it was a similar thing to what I was talking about last week, when in order to get through the scapegoat pattern and to release all that stuff, you have to accept that they disapprove of you. It was kind of similar to that. So I had this angry, betrayed feeling, which felt like chaos. It was chaos in relationships specifically. And so I just allowed that all to be there. And I looked at all the good reasons why the anger made sense and why it felt like a betrayal. And then I looked at my inner child and I thought, have I got a right to feel like this? Does this come from a long time ago? Is this even about this person? Has this person even done anything wrong? Is this my trigger? And they've triggered it without realizing, without doing anything wrong. And I'm projecting something onto them about it. So I looked into it really in depth. I went into this feeling. So if you've got like a sensation of rigidity or tension, whatever it is, it might not feel like that. It might feel like a great big stone. It might feel like a ball of wire. It might feel like a 3D shape, or just a heaviness or a numbness. Whatever your body has presented you with that is connected to this chaos, just be with it. Just let it be there. And you might experience that it's hard to focus on it, and that's okay. Just stay with it for as long as you can. And the longer you stay with it, just observing it, and just remember to be curious. So you're kind of energetically asking the question, what's here? What's here? Because whenever you ask a question, you send that energy out into the universe. You have to get an answer. So whether that comes while you're tapping and while you're focusing on it, it may do, or it may come at a later date. It may come tonight when you're in the shower or going to sleep, or when you wake up in the morning, you might have a thought connected to that. So there might be a memory connected to this sensation. So once you're able to focus on the sensation of the chaos, you're literally just allowing it. So this is the opposite of what you would normally do with a negative emotion or a negative thing. We've all been programmed to try not to feel. So we've all been programmed to not do anything with it, to not even tune into it, to just even block it out with pharmaceuticals or, whatever the addiction is. Now we're going to do the opposite of that. We're going to bring it towards us. So literally imagine that you're embracing chaos. Imagine that you're putting your arms around it, this particular chaos that is causing you trouble. And I want you to imagine blending in with it. Imagine merging with the feeling of chaos. So it might be a belief. Ask yourself, what is it saying? So what meaning have you attached to this? I could die, or I'm in danger, or I'm not good enough to know how to deal with this, or I should be different to how I am. I should be better. So if there's a belief there, just notice that as well. You don't have to do anything with it. Just ask your body to work with you and to help you understand this situation, to understand this chaos. And just know that there are always solutions to every problem. But you can't get to the solution from the frequency of the problem. So you have to sit with the problem, sit with the chaos, and allow it to be there. Because as soon as you allow it to be there, you can heal it. You can't heal anything that you're not looking at. You have to allow it to exist first. So we have to allow chaos to exist because it's happening and because it's necessary and because it's for us. It's not against us, it's for us. So try and stay with the sensation. Try and keep tapping. Now, when you're able to focus on a sensation or a feeling in the body and you stay with it, it will change, it will transform. So it might be a pain, it might be a visual, it might be an auditory, it might be just a sentient kind of feeling. It might be a sense of another being. It might be a sense of your inner child. So just know that it will transform, it will transmute, and it will change. So when it changes, stay with it. So the visual might change. It might move. You might see movement. You might have a sense of flow. You might have a sense of something being released. And you don't have to understand it. You just have to be present. So stay with the colors. Stay with the heaviness. Stay with the tingling, whatever that feels like, looks like. Stay in that chaos. Because the chaos in the external is being generated by the chaos in your internal. So if you can be completely with the chaos within and move with it, follow the feeling, let it transmute and change before your eyes because you're walking into it, because you're loving yourself enough to move through it instead of pretending it isn't happening or resisting it. That is magical. You will start to be literally changing the world through your own energy. And this is what we're all being called to do. So it might not be pleasant what you're in there. It might not be pleasant at all. And that's okay. So whenever emotion intensifies, when you're focusing on it, see if you can let it intensify. Say yes to the emotion. And this is what you would not probably normally do. So we're all stuck in our lives because we keep doing the same things over and over again. As soon as you start to do something you would not normally do, that's when you're going to start to get dramatic change. So allow the negative emotion to be there. If it intensifies, See if you can let it. Sometimes it will intensify at first before it starts to reduce, because it's almost like the body going, ah, she's letting me exist, or he's letting me exist. Our chaotic emotions have been pushed like way down. And all our lives, they've been trying to come up. We've been trying not to have the meltdowns, literally forever. So if you have beliefs that are there, such as I'm in danger, or so-and-so is going to leave me, or something about family, like they're not safe, or I'm not safe, whatever it is, it can be really intense chaos. It can feel like life or death, and it may be so. Let yourself just be with all of that, all of the emotion. You've got good reason to be in that experience. And just know that you're doing yourself so much good, and your life and your family so much good, if you can preempt it, if you can go into it and feel it and release some of that resistance and look at some of that energy that's there. And I would say keep coming back to the recording and doing it as often as you can. Repeating this process will get you everywhere. Everywhere in capital letters. So I think we're going to switch. So I want you to just imagine giving yourself a hug. So the part of you that feels like this chaos, that fears this chaos, that resists this chaos. I want you to just give him or her a hug and just give them the message, I'm with you. You're not on your own. I get it. This is difficult. This is really difficult. And I'm choosing to be with you while it feels difficult. I'm choosing to be with you while it feels like chaos. I'm here for you. I'm here for myself. I'm here for all of myselves. And I'm welcoming all the parts of me to come back so we can face all of this together. So just thank this part of you. Thank your body for showing you this part of you that has been expressing chaos and showing you the feelings of that, the sensations of that, the beliefs of that. And there's no right or wrong. It's just what your body presents you with when you're allowing it all to be there. And it might take a bit of practice to properly focus. But there isn't a thought or a sensation or anything that is an accident when you're focusing that way. It's all a message for you. So that part of us, he or she, they're going to be listening in while we're dealing with the other part over here. So I want you to see this part of you that has learnt to trust the plan and has learnt to be with the chaos, has seen the chaos as almost like a vehicle which is going to get you somewhere else, to the other side. So imagine that you have trusted the plan, you've navigated chaos, you've got all the way through to the other side, and you're really happy with the way that things have turned out, and you're absolutely astonished, and miracles have happened. And if you'd still been controlling and thinking that you were doing it and manipulating everybody and everything, trying to save everybody, whatever it was that you were doing, you've seen that that's not actually going to work. So this is the kind of like highest evolved aspect of you, the other side of the chaos. So what I want you to do is tune into this part of you. So if you have like a sort of feeling of doubt you know, I'm not ever going to trust the plan, or you know, who do I think I am? Like nailing the apocalypse. Like you might talk yourself down. You might kind of say to yourself, well, yeah, I don't fully believe that this part of me exists. But anyway, go with it. Because in a multiverse, in a universe like the one we're in, it all does. So imagine this highest evolved aspect part of you, this highest evolved aspect of your source. And this part has navigated the chaos. And all around them are outcomes and gifts, really. Things have happened, changes have occurred. It might not all be good, but it's actually gone in directions that you couldn't possibly have predicted, and you would never have got there if you had been controlling that. So I want you to, again, come out of your head, drop into your heart. So stop, drop, and then just roll with this aspect of consciousness. And use your imagination as much as you can. Now, what is the feeling flavor of this you? Imagine that you've got this version of you in front of you and sink into the feeling flavor of this part of you. What is their emotion? So they probably feel like peace. They probably feel really warm and safe and happy and amazed and wise. What is that for you? Imagine sitting opposite this part of you and imagine connecting with them. And then notice if that's easy for you to do. So when people work with their inner child or their future self, it's always really interesting how easy that feels, because sometimes it can indicate how connected you are to yourself. Sometimes it can be a really good way of seeing blocks that you have to possibility, to yourself. You know, resistance might be there. And you're never doing anything wrong if there's resistance. Resistance is a clue. I love resistance. Resistance is just the next step, is just the next thing to look at. I see resistance as an emotional experience in itself, because it's just you trying not to feel, or trying not to look, or trying not to be in it, or thinking that you can't, or feeling, you know, unacceptable in some way, or ashamed, or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. But if you find it hard to connect with your future self or your inner child at other times, just notice it and then ask your body to show you what that's about. Ask the universe to bring the thoughts, the feelings, the situations that can help you to reconnect with yourself on a deeper level. So you've got this part of you, and they feel really good, and they've maybe surrendered for the first time ever, or maybe in the deepest way that they ever have done. So this is about sometimes like having fought for so long, like fight with the same person or the same situation, being stuck in the same thing literally forever, and then finally seeing that it was the thing that you've been doing all along that was keeping it there. It was probably the fight that kept the thing there. So often the only option is to let it go and to drop that and to surrender and to ask yourself, is there a different way? What is it that I need to do? because there is always something else. There's always another option. There's always a win-win. And we spend so much time on lose-loses trying to get somebody to see our perspective or do things differently or whatever. And that's fair enough. It's okay to try to help somebody else see something or, improve their lives or whatever. But if that person doesn't want to know or can't go there, you're just hurting yourself if you keep fighting. And everybody's on their path. It's so hard to let go. So this highest evolved aspect of you has done that. Now, it might feel like this part of you has done something that is actually impossible for you at this point, in this current circumstance that you're in. And that's okay. It's okay to feel that gulf between you. If it feels like there's a gulf there, just notice it. It's not wrong or bad, and you haven't done anything wrong at all. Maybe you could ask this aspect of you, what do you need, or what do I need for us to come closer? And then whenever you ask a question like that, try not to create the answer. Try and attract the answer. So let it come to you kind of like a bubble would rise up from the bottom of the pool. So when you're tapping and when you're asking yourself questions, when you're tuned into sensation, you are very connected to yourself. More connected to yourself than you think you are, actually. So if it feels like you can connect with this future aspect of you that has navigated chaos and is on the other side because they trusted the plan, imagine getting close to them, like holding hands, or you could maybe take them to a nice place like to the park or to the mountaintop or to a meadow, to a place that you know or to a place that you've like made up, doesn't matter, or a place that's meaningful. And just do whatever you need to do to feel connected to this part of you. And then imagine what it would be like to actually have a conversation with them. What would you ask them? Spend some time listening for the answer, but also spend some time just trying to be with that part of you and imagine that you're completely there for each other 100%, and you're aligning your frequencies. Imagine your energies readjusting so that you can become more like them. Imagine amplifying the emotion that you think they would be feeling or that you can sense that they're feeling. So tune into that sense of freedom, that sense of peace, that feeling of relief. Where is that in your body? Generate the feeling of, I've done it. I got through that. And then as soon as you tune into that positive frequency, imagine turning up the volume. Imagine that you've got a volume button, an intensity button, and you're turning up the intensely positive feeling flavor of having navigated the chaos. Imagine holding hands with this part of you and literally breathing in their frequency. So imagine them giving you their frequency as much as you can handle. And you don't have to take a lot of that. You don't have to take any. You can just observe. If it feels right to you, imagine breathing in that frequency, that sense of relief, that newly found strength, that groundedness, that safety, that feeling of being protected. Whatever that is for you, imagine expanding it outwards. Imagine it actually soaking into every cell of your body like a sponge. So inside your body, you've got, I think it's 75 trillion cells. I don't know if that's the right number, but along those lines, imagine that, 75 trillion. And, you know, a lot of people think that each cell has a separate consciousness. So imagine that these trillions of cells are like your army, your personal army that you can program. You can literally wake up every morning and say, "Joy, please." And they do listen. They're always listening. They're always listening to that monkey mind. And that's why you get the fear and the anxiety and the difficult stuff, because that's what you're thinking. So the cells in your body are listening to that program. So the body will reflect whatever is going on there. So practice this positive emotion amplified, this future version of you that you can tune into. So just ask yourself, what would they be wearing, this future version of me that has navigated chaos and trusted the plan? How would they have their hair? Do they look like me? Do they look different to me? Have they got a whole new wardrobe? Are they in a different place? Who are they? What's different? What's the difference between me and them? So just keep breathing that in. And this is like almost like letting go of um, needing to know how. How is this going to happen? This is where a lot of people kind of get stuck with healing and with the spiritual path, kind of needing to know how to get there. What do I do? What are the steps, step by step? You know, what do I have to do? So this is really about stopping doing anything. Don't do anything, because we're not the doers, especially when chaos is here. Chaos is miraculous. It's a miraculous adventure. So if we can be saying yes to chaos, like last week, we said yes to being disapproved of by someone who isn't for our highest good. You know, it's okay that someone disapproves of us. We can actually do anything when we take this kind of radical action. So just say yes to the chaos and say yes to believing that you can get through it and that there's nothing to do and that you're not the doer. If you could suddenly change from a doer to a beer, that would be how to do this. So when we were kids, we were only really reinforced for what we were doing or not doing, not for what we were being. Have a think about that. So that's what we're trying to get back to. So just thank your future self that has navigated chaos and trusted the plan. Say thank you for all your downloads and wisdom and information that that you might not even understand yet. And then just say thank you to the other part of you that was afraid of the chaos. And then just look at those two parts of you again and just notice, do they look the same as when you first looked at them at the beginning of the exercise, or do they look different? And do they want to talk to each other actually? Like, is there something that needs to be said or felt or sensed? So if you were to introduce them to each other, would they be aware of each other? Would they have something to say? And if they would, just let that happen. So let that be there without needing to control it. And your subconscious mind will work with you metaphorically to resolve anything or to witness emotion or to witness a belief or whatever that is. Just be open. Your body really will guide you once you get into this. And it guides you through thought and memory, sensation. It's a conversation. It's about learning the language that your body is using to communicate with you. But yeah, it's not just your imagination. All of this stuff repatterns your body. Your body doesn't really understand time. We know that time doesn't exist anyway, but for your body, time definitely doesn't exist. I mean, you know that if you're having a bad dream, your body's safe in bed, but your body doesn't know that. Your body thinks the dream is happening. That's why your body is sweating in bed. That's why you're shouting in bed, because you're having a bad dream. Your body didn't know it wasn't real. It's the same as when you do this kind of energy work. When you work with different parts of your consciousness, it's not just your imagination. You are actually healing yourself. You're repatterning your body. The more negative emotion that you sit with and the more positive emotion that you sit with in both directions, it's all going to lead to something better. So I think I'm going to stop there and see if anybody wants to jump in. Thank you, everybody that's here. If anybody wants to ask anything.
I'll just jump in. I don't have anything to ask. However, thank you very much for the show, Jenny. But the one thing that was popping in my head listening to you was spaghetti bolognese.
Do you know why?
Yeah, I was going to say the reason why that kept popping in my head is that life is like the spaghetti, and I'm the bolognese, and you've got different methods to attack the spaghetti. You can mix and roll it with a spoon or a fork, or chop it with a knife. Get hold of one end of the spaghetti and just suck on that. And it was, and you can mix it up with the sauce, or you can do it dry, or you can add a bit of salt to it, a bit of pepper to it. You can add bits and pieces. So that was what I was. For some bizarre reason, I was just thinking, yeah, life's like a spaghetti bolognese, and life is the spaghetti, and I'm the bolognese.
Yeah, I think it's like it's like when you have one of those tall burgers, when you order a burger in a posh restaurant and it's like really high, and you want to pick it up and eat it like a burger, but you can't. You have to like dissect it and take it all apart, and then it destroys like the art piece that it was when it was delivered to your table. It is, chaos is like that. It's like not knowing where to start, isn't it? It's overwhelm, intense overwhelm.
Yeah, and you've got to start somewhere, and you've got to look at that spaghetti at some place on the plate, and you don't know how long it is. Some people will chop the spaghetti up into small pieces and mix it all up. Some people won't. Some people will use a spoon and a fork and wrap it around and do all the
Yeah, I mean, but it's like, even if you look really deeply into it with chaos theory and stuff, they talk about paradox of chaos, but like the way to navigate chaos is to literally do nothing. It really is so strange, you know, because I
The spaghetti is the chaos.
yeah,
And so you can see all that jumbled up spaghetti-ness.
yeah.
And then you put a great big dollop of bolognese sauce on top.
Mm.
And so the life is the chaos and I'm the bolognese sauce.
I've kind of got that image of you remember Dad's Army, and it was like, don't panic, Mr. Mannering, and then the guy would like run around like a headless chicken. I can't remember his character's name, but yeah,
It's funny you should say that because over the last couple of weeks I've been saying that to the friends that I've got around here, not online but face to face. And they'd say something, I'd say, "Don't panic. Don't sweat the small stuff. Don't panic." And as soon as I say the word panic, I always, "Don't panic, Mr. Mannering."
It's so interesting because actually, but I'm glad that that's come up, because panic, the emotion of panic, what most people don't want to hear about panic is that panic is the result of not processing your emotions. So the way out of a panic attack is actually to panic. And there is a paradox. It doesn't make any sense, but panic attacks happen when you are trying to prevent the panic, when you're trying to prevent. So it's like, I'm not, this is not happening. So that's when someone will get a panic attack, when they're saying to themselves, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. And when you're not okay, you just have to be like, I'm not okay. I need to go and sit down or whatever. But panic always comes as a result of that chaos, as a result of that kind of overwhelm. And the answer is to just go into it, allow it, like let it be there. It's a particularly different, sorry, not different, difficult. It's a particularly difficult experience of having a panic attack. Don't understand it either, but it is 100% of the time because you haven't been letting the emotion be there, and then an emotion goes on top of another emotion. It's like pouring kerosene onto a fire and it starts to blow up. It's like, if you don't deal with the original thing, it's going to get bigger, and then you won't look at it, and then you don't look at it again, and then you avoid it even further, and then it gets bigger and it gets bigger until it becomes unmanageable, and then it becomes a panic attack. So panic and chaos, those kind of situations, are always as a result of something that hasn't been dealt with, it hasn't been dealt with, it hasn't been dealt with. So if you think about that in the world, like how many problems there are that haven't been solved, that have been going on and on for like generations, now is the time of chaos. Now is the time for that to play out. And we've been watching it, people like us. Now it's time for us to just let it all be there, because we know it's there. We've seen it already. We've heard it all. We know what's happening, but everybody else doesn't. So now they have to have it. So we're going to be seeing it kind of from a different perspective to them. But yeah, it's not easy, not easy stuff.
Right. Douglas has made it safely home. So Douglas and Jackie are now ready for their show. Have you got any final words before I press the stop recording?
I don't think I have. I think I have pretty much done. But I hope everybody is okay out there, and a big group hug to everyone. It's really difficult what's going on for us, and we have reached the point where we literally are now. There's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do to change anything now. In some ways, like, all we've got is being with ourselves. So, yeah, lots of love to everybody. But yeah, you can stop the show there, Andy. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
I stopped it now. We'll just get that unmuted and get that unmuted. There we go. Thank you very much again, Jenny, for that.
Oh, you're welcome, Andy.
I'll post it up shortly and forward it on to you. Jackie, like I said, Jackie and Douglas are here now. to talk about Halloween, I believe.
Yay! It's funny because I was just about to sorry, Jackie.
Sorry, go on.
I was talking to my daughter about Halloween, and she was asking me what I don't understand it. What's the origins of it? And I was thinking, well, maybe we could do some research about that. And now you're here to do that for me. Thanks, Jackie.
It's going to be interesting. So yeah, we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive into the history of it as well.
Oh,
well, not a deep dive, just a skim, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
I hope you find it interesting. Let me know what you think, or you let us know what you think.
Yeah. Thanks, Jackie. All right, I'm still going to be around, but yeah, I'm going to shut up now. So have a lovely show.
Thank you.
Me too.